So there's something about trackpads which I just happen not to like, especially for stuff like video editing or something precise. Even though I have a MacBook Pro 14-inch and it is considered that MacBooks have the best trackpads out there, I still don't like to use it very much, like especially for longer periods of time. And so I wanted a mouse, and before this I already had a Logitech G304, but it was a gaming mouse without Bluetooth and I did not want to carry a USB dongle. And so after a lot of research, I wanted a mouse for productivity this time, and MX Master 3 by Logitech just got my attention. To be honest, it was mostly because I had seen a lot of creators using this mouse, and so I went ahead and got one for myself. So nothing fancy, just came in this box with a USB-C charging cable, a receiver, and the mouse itself. First thing that caught my attention was the color. It's not black, it's more of a space gray color, which I think I like so far. Holding this mouse for the first time felt very different than holding a normal mouse. Both the scroll wheels felt premium as they're made out of metal, and with my big hand it just felt so comfortable to hold it. Not a fan of the clickiness though. I think for a mouse suited for productivity, it would have been nicer if it was a bit more silent while clicking. I mean, it's not that loud, but you know. Now coming to the scroll wheels, the top one in particular has two modes that can be toggled by pressing this key on the top, and you can either have a notchy scroll or a smoother one. I prefer the smoother one right now, but if I had to scroll more precisely, I would prefer the other mode. But something you can do on both modes, and something I'm a huge fan of so far, is the scrolling. You can literally just flick it once and it would keep scrolling. I think this was like one of the highlight features of this mouse, and I can totally see why. Like seriously, just one flick and you're at the bottom of any web page. And just to fill your curiosity, I'm not sure how many seconds does it spin for precisely, but I think it's more than 30 seconds, at least in my case. The horizontal scrolling isn't bad either. I'm literally using it right now while recording this voiceover on Adobe Audition, but on some other places like Premiere Pro or anything that has a need for horizontal scrolling, it works just fine. The other two programmable buttons are also handy to have, but one more surprise is this weird button on the bottom. It is there for gestures that can be done by pressing this button followed by a movement of the mouse in any direction, and it could be fully configured in the Logitech Options software along with every other buttons on this thing. And it can be totally different for a different software. It's just nice. Now here's the blockbuster. The main thing about this mouse, which has been bothering me still to this day, is the polling rate inside of this thing, which is 90 Hz when you use Bluetooth and up to 125 they say when you use the USB receiver thing. So if you have a higher refresh rate display like the 14-inch MacBook Pro has 120 Hz, this might be something that you do notice, like I did. Just after using the trackpad for days, using this mouse immediately made me feel like returning it, as it just wasn't as smooth, and this wasn't the case when I was using my G304, as it has like 1000 Hz of polling rate. I mean, sure, that thing is made for gaming, and this isn't, but still. The reason why I kept the mouse after using it for a while is because I just got used to it. And all the other things, the other features this mouse had to offer just overshadowed this issue. And upon further research, people have been saying that this is how all Bluetooth mice feel on higher refresh rate monitors, including the Apple's own Magic Mouse too. And so I had no other option either. The reason why I made such a big deal out of it at first was because this did not only feel not smooth, it felt like it was shuddering or just laggy. I would still like to see a higher polling rate while using the USB receiver, at least with that. And it would have been much more handy if it was a USB-C receiver, because none of us want to carry more dongles with us. I just hope Logitech does something about this in the future if MX Master 4 is ever to come. But this is understandable for now, as this thing came way back in 2019. Alright, so just an update after using this mouse for a few more days. I installed this Logitech Options Plus beta software on my MacBook, and for some reason this feels a bit smoother now. I still like to use the unifying receiver instead of Bluetooth when I'm home, but even on Bluetooth, this does feel somewhat better, so this is good. To improve scrolling, I also installed this open source software called MOS, after reading a lot of Reddit comments on it. Anyway, so one more thing I didn't like is the middle click. It is oddly placed on the front of the mouse and is a bit harder to click. I always use it to open new tabs, and so it just works, but you just have to press it a bit harder. Other than that, I also love how I can use this mouse on literally any surface. So I don't have a mouse pad everywhere, and so I like how I can use this to edit videos on my college library, because there I could not like bring a mouse pad or something. I mean, I could, but so I could use this mouse on the desk directly, and it just works so smooth. And it also works on glass just fine. So this is great to have. Still like to have a small mousepad though, because after all, it just feels better on it, no matter what. Oh, and on the bottom of this mouse, there is a power switch along with a button for pairing it to 3 different devices. And USB-C charging is also good to have. I've heard it can last for months and can be used while charging. So this video was only supposed to be an initial impressions video anyway, and that's all of it. Let me know your thoughts, follow me on social media, and I normally leave links to the stuff I use in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.